This will go down on your
As a
permanent record.
record.
Hello,
That's fine.
everyone, and welcome to the new episode of Entrepreneurship Lab. This is your host, Nevena Bajalac, welcoming you once again to the podcast where we help you learn how to grow and scale your business. And today we have special guests. We have a duo, which we never had on the show, father and a son, who built a multi-million-dollar company, very successful entrepreneurs, but a very unique story as well. John and Mark Cronin. And John has Down syndrome, and his father Mark obviously believed in him and pushed him. And I'm so excited to hear and for you to also hear how the journey went as entrepreneurs and them supporting inclusion in general when employing and building their team. John and Mark, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it on your podcast.
We're grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation and to speak to you out there, you entrepreneurs. You are our tribe. We love it.
So John and Mark, tell us a little bit more about John Crazy Socks, right? That's the name of your company. Tell us, how did you start as entrepreneurs? When did this journey became? You grow it in a big company, and tell us, what do you do with your business?
Well, it depends how far back you want to go, but when you ask about life as entrepreneurs, it's something I'm sure people, that you sitting there in the audience, you can think of. I can look back and see how I'd been entrepreneurial my whole life. And I could see it in John too, even when he was in school. We may not have had language for it, but we're organizing things and building things and thinking differently. But specifically, John's Crazy Socks. So we have to go back 8 years to the fall of 2016. And our story, I tell them the whole story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Our story starts in a small log cabin in the woods. No, it starts on suburban Long Island, outside New York City, in a town called Huntington. And where were you?
I was at Huntington High School. I'm going to be my last year of school.
So John's in his last year of high school. Like everybody else, he's trying to figure out what comes next. And what were you looking at?
I like a job program in school. I can't find a great opportunity I don't like.
This is an unfortunate reality. There just aren't, you mentioned that John has Down syndrome. There just aren't enough good opportunities for people with differing abilities. So ask yourself, if I can't find a job, what am I going to do? And John here, just like you, he's a natural entrepreneur.
Yes, I am.
You didn't see a job you wanted. What do you say?
I said I want to make one. I want to create one.
He saw what was a problem as an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And what'd you tell me?
I said I want to go into business with my partner, my dad. And I started that business together.
So this is pretty cool. Think, what would you do if your son or daughter came to you and said, I want to go into business? How exciting would that be? So we had to figure out what type of business would we start. John, so just like you guys, he's a lot of ideas. Not all of them are good ideas.
Right.
What was one of your ideas for the business?
One of them is a food truck. I saw a great movie here at US. A movie called Chef. One TV actor and here US called John Farrow. The movie about a father and son buying a food truck.
Now, everybody loves a food truck. Everybody loves eating from a food truck. And we're thinking, what could we make? Where would we put it? But we ran into a problem.
Oh, we can't cook.
Yeah, we can't cook. So it wasn't going to be a food truck. But then, right before the US Thanksgiving at the end of November, John had his eureka moment?
Yes, it did, Dad. I want to sell crazy socks. Why socks? It's fun, it's colorful, it's creative. It's always let me be me. I want crazy socks my whole life.
We used to drive around looking for these socks for John.
Yes.
So we figured this, if he loved them that much, surely other people would too. And we could find those people. So ask yourself, all right, I got this idea for a business. What's the next thing I do? And the traditional thing is stop everything and prepare a business plan. That's not what we did. We went the lean startup route. You already had the name.
I got a name. I have ideas.
You had the idea to sell
Yeah,
online.
I did.
So we built a simple website, built it on the Shopify platform, got a little bit of inventory. The only marketing we did was to set up a Facebook page, and I would take out my cell phone and we made videos. And who do you think was in those videos?
Dad, I am. I talk about socks, and more socks.
And we opened in mid-December of 2016 just to test the idea. And we didn't know what to expect, but we got what felt like a flood of orders. We got 42 orders the first day, and most of them were local, which made sense. He was in Huntington High School. We lived in Huntington.
Yeah.
We had temporary office space there. How did we decide to deliver those first orders?
Our home deliveries, we get red boxes.
We put the socks in the box.
Yes.
And we said it needs something else. So what else did you put in?
I'm thinking them for me and candy.
We got bags
That's a
of
perfect
Hershey's
gift.
Kisses, those little chocolates, poured them in the box, loaded up the car and drove around, and you knocked on doors delivering socks.
I did. A customer response. They love the socks. The customers want to take a picture with me, box of socks, a customer's order, and a customer. And I share a picture on social media. A word I get a spread.
Word began to spread. We had customers ordering again just to get John to come back to their door. So it's December here in New York. It gets dark early, it's cold. We're driving around, he's getting out, he's knocking on doors. I'm watching him go inside. I'm sitting out in the car, it's cold, it's dark. I'm like, where's John? Meanwhile, he's inside drinking hot chocolate, telling stories, having a grand old time.
Yes.
Well, by the end of that month, really 2 weeks, we had shipped 452 orders, and we knew we had something. We didn't know how big it would grow. We did not know how fast it would grow, but we knew we could grow this. When we
Wow,
started,
that's amazing. And how many employees do you have now?
now we have 34 employees, and 22 have a different ability. And so here's how you can kind of measure some of this. When we started, we had 37 different sock choices. How many do we have now?
We have 4,000 different socks.
4,000, which means John owns the world's largest sock store.
Yes.
We're not outselling Walmart and Target, at least not yet. 34 employees, 22 of whom have a differing ability. We've shipped now 475,000 packages to 89 different countries. Our Giving Back program has raised over $750,000 US for our charity partners, like Special Olympics,
Olympic.
National Down Syndrome Society, Autism Society of America. And like you like to say, we're just getting started.
I love it. So I have a question for you, John. Did you came across, I mean, you have this charisma and the smile and positive energy, but for you as a person with disabilities, did you find it some specific challenges that you had? And did you ever doubted yourself?
Did you ever worry that it wasn't going to succeed? Did you ever doubt yourself?
I don't know because I think it'd be challenging.
Or you just go and do things.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do new things. It I
And
really wanna.
John is a lesson for all of us. You know, so many of you, you're out there and, oh, I'm worried. Do I take this next step? Do I do this? John just decides, okay, we're going to do it. And now the only question is, how do we get this done?
I
Right?
love it.
It's really quite
Thank you,
remarkable.
John. And that's definitely something all of us should carry with us and learn from John. So, Mark, what happened when you got like, so often we are struggling, we want clients, but then when business start growing fast and obviously you start getting a lot of orders very quickly, what were your challenges? I mean, it was two of you knocking doors. So, how did you manage to keep the customers happy? How did you manage to keep the orders and deliveries and everything? So it has to be done right very quickly, and that can be scaling, can be a little bit challenging, definitely sometimes.
Oh, it was challenging. So we started in December. It was just the two of us. Once I could see that this could be a viable business, then you want to grow it. Now we were bootstrapping. So we hit January. I started adding some staff so we can build out the business. But we also find out nobody buys anything in January because they spent all their money at the holidays. We grew nicely into February, and then in March of 2017, we tried something new. We did a pop-up shop. We're now getting to the point where we're doing 40 or 50 orders a day. This is nice as we're growing. And then all of a sudden, and I remember the day, if you're on a Shopify platform, they'll put an app on your phone, and every time you get a sale, you get a little cha-ching. That's the default setting. Well, we're going out to dinner, and all of a sudden, as the kids would say, my phone is blowing up. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. What is going on here? And I'm looking at our Google Analytics and our Shopify stats. Where is all this business coming from? And I start telling John in my hubris, must be the good SEO work I was doing. It turns out an online journal called The Mighty put out a video. They never filmed anything with us. It's just a slideshow video. Last I looked, that video had over 20 million views. So we went from doing 40 or 50 orders a day to over 1,000 orders a day. It almost put us out of business. It was wiping us out. We're hiring people. I remember one night I went to a Best Buy store to buy 2 more computers so we could have 2 more packing stations. And I recruited 2 of their employees to come work for us the next day. So we get this huge spike. We hire people, we get a warehouse, we move, and then we hit the summer. Turns out nobody buys socks in the summer. So now we go from this surge to nothing. And we're running out of money. I got to let people go. And where's our money? It's tied up in inventory and infrastructure. We barely make it through the summer into the fall. Then we hit the holiday season. Half of our business comes in November and December, but we don't know that yet. Boom, it explodes again. We had a TV appearance on a show here in the States called Fox and Friends. We got 3,000 orders in one morning. It's overwhelming. And so we learned the hard way with a lot of mistakes. Our second year was a very strong year. Our third year, we kind of came down to earth, and that created a problem. Right now, I'm looking for financing. You hear this sometimes, never look for money when you need money. Well, now we need money. We have people coming in They want to invest, but what they really wanted to do was shut us down and just buy the brand. And by the end of that third year, we were, for all intents and purposes, bankrupt. We had no money for, to buy inventory for the holidays. I remember meeting with a law firm, a bankruptcy law firm. And they said, well, we'll take you into bankruptcy, maybe you can survive, but you have to give us $25,000 up front. I said, guys, if I had $25,000, I'm not talking to you. We were very fortunate. We found a strategic partner that had been in business for 60 years, manufacturing socks. They sold to department stores and brand names, so we were a good fit. We shared values. So that we set that arrangement up in early 2020. That gave us financial stability and manufacturing capability. And that let us grow. So today, we can handle surges. And we have the infrastructure in place. So it's scaling is challenging. And the world constantly changes around you. And when we started, we could throw ads out on Facebook and get a 10x ROAS, return on ad spend. Now you have to fight and claw to get a 2x, or we're getting 3 to 4x, but you got to fight for that. So we had somebody every year on our anniversary, we do a pop-up shop open house party. People come in, they come from all over. It's great fun. And last year there was a guy, a customer, and he's talking to me saying, well, once you got started, that was the hard part. Now it's easy. Now you just run the business. I was like, you've never been in a business, have you? Actually getting started, that was easy. The hard part is, how do you keep growing? How do you keep going? Because you can't stay stable. There's an old Bob Dylan line. He not busy being born is a busy dying. You're either growing
absolutely.
or you're dying. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you obviously employ, like you said, more than 50%, right, of your employees with different abilities. And what would you say to businesses? Because inclusion is still, it's different in different countries, but definitely people have different prejudice. And how are you assessing, or what would you say about people with different abilities, how to look for their strengths? And you obviously we have John here as an example of an excellent entrepreneur who is confident and believe in himself, and we should all learn from you, John. But what would you say to, as a message as we are wrapping up this interview, to people who grow their companies, why they should hire more people with different abilities?
Well, let's start at what we're trying to do. You're out there running a business. You want to hire the best possible people for the salary you can afford. If you artificially exclude a population, you can no longer say you're hiring the best possible people, right? I don't care if that says, well, I don't hire women, or if I don't hire people with disabilities. You have to be open to hiring everybody. And then make sure you are focused on what you need. Don't load in things that you don't need. Don't say you have to have a driver's license if you don't need to drive for the job. Don't say you have to have a college education if you don't need a college education to do the job. At the same time, we don't lower our standards. If you get to know us, you'd find out that John here is a very nice guy.
I am.
I am not. If you're going to work for us, you have to produce. We don't give jobs to anybody. Everybody earns that job. So in our case, much of what we do, we run a pick and pack warehouse, right? You got to fulfill orders, pick them, pack them, send them out. What do we call our pickers?
Stock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. Now, to get the sock wrangler job, we'll train you, but you have to pass the sock wrangler test. You have to pick 6 orders in 20 minutes or less. Show us you can do the job, nothing extraneous. But you have to be able to show us you can do the job well. What are the results? So for our warehouse, we hire from 3 different labor pools. People with different abilities, moms, there's some dads in there, because we schedule people in 4-hour shifts. So you can put your child on the bus in the morning, send the kid off to school, come and work, and be home to pick the child up in the afternoon. And then we get general laborers who are, we our starting salary is $16.50 an hour. By far, the best labor pool are people with different abilities. What does this do? Our productivity is up, our retention is up, people don't leave. Morale is high, and it helps us recruit people. We do same-day shipping. An order comes in today, it is going out today. Our error rate is less than 0.2 of 1%. We do better shipping than Amazon. And Jeff Bezos over at Amazon, he's not putting a thank you note and candy in every package like John does. But we succeed because of the people we hire.
I love that. That's such a and very, like you said, you have your standards, you have your objective, you provide training, people have to prove themselves, but then it is really a culture in your company that you created that
It is
those results as well, and builds your brand.
It is, but we're in our area, there's a growing labor shortage. And I hear all the time from people, I can't find enough good employees. They're paying overtime, jobs are going unfilled, they're leaving money on the table. We'll be glad to help you. We have no trouble filling all of our jobs. And they're with great employees. So, don't, part of our lesson is hiring people with different abilities is not altruism. It's good business. And what you want to focus on what people can do, not what they can't do. So my partner here,
Yes.
we don't ask John to do our finances. But nobody represents the company better than him. John, you give tours. Nobody gives a better tour than John.
Absolutely.
Right? So you fit people to the job, but open it up. And I'll give an example that it's not just us. You've probably heard of this small software company out in Redmond, Washington, called Microsoft. They're in fierce competition to hire programmers and technical people. So they picked their heads up a few years ago and say, how come we're not hiring more people with autism? Because many people with autism are great programmers. Well, that's because they couldn't get past the interview process. They may not look you in the eye. They may not have a firm handshake. What the heck does having a firm handshake have to do with writing computer code? So Microsoft, they're pretty smart people. They say, they changed their hiring process. They changed their recruiting process. They now hire lots of people with autism. Not because they're nice guys. And that gives them a competitive advantage over other businesses. And if you're a business out there, we'll be glad to help you. Think about it this way. You and me, John, we're a couple of knuckleheads selling socks.
Absolutely.
If we can do this, you can do it.
You guys are absolutely amazing. I love your story. I learned so much from you. And I want to just ask John, because we are wrapping up and finishing the episode. John, what is a message you would like to tell to people who are starting a business?
What's your advice?
My advice, follow your heart. Follow your dreams. Work hard. Show you can do.
Show you can do.
I love it.
And if people want to find us, where can they find us, John?
John'sCrazySocks.com.
John'sCrazySocks.com. We're on every social media platform. You'll love John's dancing on TikTok. Just look for John's Crazy Socks. We're on LinkedIn. And if you want to get a hold of me, I'm the only Mark X Cronin on LinkedIn. Right? We don't want to besmirch the other Mark Cronins. Look for the Mark X Cronin. And if we can help you, we'll be glad to do that. Talk about hiring people with different abilities and mission-driven business. What's our mission?
spread
Spreading
happiness.
But we hope we brought a little happiness to you today.
You definitely did. Thank you so much for being my guests. And I want to thank everyone for listening. I am sure you're super inspired, you're motivated, and definitely John and Mark made you truly, truly believe in yourself. And our message for today, I think, is stop doubting in yourself and stop worrying and just go out and do it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And yes, please subscribe if you haven't. Go connect with John and Mark Cronin and John's Crazy Socks. And for us, make sure to download this episode, share it with at least one person that can benefit from it. Give us some comments, likes, and as always, we see you in the next episode.